it's funny though. It's funny. It's still absolutely incredible to think that 19 years ago, the world got into Potter on the big screen, as opposed to just being in the books. And then gradually, because I suppose when we were filming it as well, we were pretty much sheltered from a lot of the noise anyway. Because obviously, when we were doing it was a long time before we had, certainly the early films, it was a long time before mass social media or anything like that. Apart from the odd blog or fan site, there was no insight that we could see what the fans' reaction to it were. So it was quite liberating in that way, that we were able to just film, and that's all we did. We watched. I still get the smell actually now when I look at the Great Hall of sprouts and boiled veg, because in the big banqueting scenes they'd be cooking the other side, or you go in for breakfast and we'd be filming at first thing doing breakfast on the Great Hall, so we'd have full English breakfasts and stuff like that, which is, in hindsight, is really funny to think about. But at the time it was like, oh yeah, I think I'll have some I'll have bacon and egg sandwich today, yeah. Absolutely incredible times. And to all my castmates and people like that who we work with and the crew and everything like that, I had an absolute blast and loved every minute of it and working with you guys.
Well, I can't believe it has been 19 years. It honestly feels like yesterday that we were shooting. The memories from those 10 years are so vivid in my mind, and obviously it becomes such a framework to my life. And I think why it's hard to always forget that the Wizarding World was that long ago in my experience is that I think it's just kept so alive by our incredible fans. You really are what makes the Wizarding World, and I think it's just a reminder that Hogwarts is always there. It never has left, and it's always there for us to go home to and feel welcome at and feel safe and loved in. And I feel like that's what I always hear when I hear people's stories of why they love the Wizarding World. So 19 years later is almost just shows that time can be warped and strange in a concept, because I think it's very much alive in us still. But I think it's just a reminder that I miss it. I miss all my friends on the film set. I miss all the wonderful sets and incredible crew that we got to work with as well.
What does 19 years later mean to me? That is a very good question. As soon as I say that, I get a flashback of a lot of memories which happen when we're filming, when we're doing the promotional tours, seeing the reaction of people, and up to this day of seeing the new generation of Harry Potter fans come through as well. A couple of months ago, actually, before lockdown, I met a couple who had gone on their first date, 19 years ago it would be, to see the first movie. And they have now married and have got 2 kids of their own. So that absolutely blew me away. Because when we were filming, we never saw the fans really. We were in our own little cocoon making these really fun movies. And what's really great is that we're still in contact with everybody. It's the best way to describe the relationship of the cast and crew is it's like guys from your high school or your college. You may not see each other all the time, but when you do speak to each other, it's like you've never been apart. So we're very, very fortunate for that. And yeah, I'm still blown away by everybody's care for it, everybody's love for it, and I'm so, so grateful to have been a part of it. So thank you very much to everybody for making the last 19 years so fun for me and seeing how much it means to you. Thanks very much, guys. I don't know, I'm going to ask another one of my cast members. What does 19 years mean to you?
19 years later is... obviously it's a very special thing in the Harry Potter world, isn't it? Yes, 19 years later, all was well. Yes, it is well. All is well. I mean, apart from all this worldly nonsense that's going on, everything is well. And we should be really, really grateful for that. I know I certainly am. I think it's marvellous that 19 years later, after the first film came out, we are all still talking about it, and the films are still being shown, and people are still watching them and introducing their younger siblings or their kids or their grandkids even to it. It's wonderful that it's still as relevant today as it was nearly 20 years ago. I think Harry Potter's got a very special place in a lot of people's hearts. It certainly has in mine. And I was a huge fan of the stories before I was cast in the films, and then obviously the films have had huge impact on my life for the last 20 years since we started filming them. But I think it has a huge impact on a lot of people's lives, and I think that's because a lot of people find love and comfort and acceptance in the stories that we were lucky enough to be telling. And those points are still as important, if not more important today than they ever have been. And I think that's why it's done so well and is still around and still seems to be so magical as it was back then. Pun absolutely intended. But it's 19 years ago. I mean, that's insane. I was 16 when I started, so it's longer ago now than it had been before I was born. like the time leading up to me discovering and being in Harry Potter is now a shorter amount of time than since I started being in it. Like, that's nuts. That's absolutely nuts. And I'm getting old. I've just turned 37 I'm getting old. At least I'll never be as old as Sean Bickerstaff. You'll always have that slight head start on me, though.
Right, if I think back 19 years ago and what 19 years means to me, it sounds like a very long time, doesn't feel like that long ago, but I distinctly remember buying my first ticket for the first Harry Potter movie and how much a big deal that was as a Harry Potter fan, that you had to be early. It was a point of pride to be one of the first to get your ticket. So 6 weeks in advance, however soon they opened the box office, I would buy my ticket and I would always try and be first in line to get the best seats. And I did that for the first, second, third, fourth movie, and each movie I became more of a crazy fangirl. And I always had a t-shirt with Harry Dan's face on it. I would make these t-shirts especially for the movie opening, and I get so excited. So then on the fifth one, I was in the poster, which was obviously very cool and strange. So I think 19 years to me represents how life can change suddenly, and how miracles can happen, really. As corny as that sounds, it is true, and how important it is to invest in your dreams. And that really, wherever you are in your life, whether you're going through a hard time or something amazing is happening, just know that will change. So be present in the moment and get as much as you can out of the lessons the present moment is teaching you. And I think thinking back 19 years, I'm just so grateful that Harry Potter is still such a significant and huge part of my life, and honestly, a piece of my heart. So that is my answer.
19 years. What does it mean to me? Well, it's a tricky question, really, but I think the first thing that pops into my head is surreal. The whole thing still seems very surreal. I remember at the time, well, initially when I first got the part, it was surreal. But then over the years, over the 10 years, you kind of get conditioned to the whole Harry Potter madness. But now, 19 years later, I don't think any of us thought it was going to be as big, or like still as big now, where the fandom is still huge, if not bigger. It's mental. It really is crazy. And it's like it was like my childhood, you know. So even though I wasn't filming flat out, it was on and off for 10 years. It was still such a huge part of my life and my childhood. Really have fond memories. Really only fond memories of it over those 19 years. Harry Potter, it really does have a special place in my heart, I suppose. Right.
What does 19 years later mean for me? And it's quite fascinating when you put it that way, because 19 years on, I still feel as if Harry Potter is as big as ever. I don't think that it's dropped off. I think, if anything, in my experience from what I see, it's only got bigger. As you can imagine, there's I am lucky enough to go and travel the world and to go to conventions. And from my experience of doing the first convention, you know, over 10 years ago to what I'm seeing now is, you know, going to meet with the Harry Potter fans and seeing, you know, people that have had children that are now bringing their children on. So I think 19 years later, in my eyes, is kind of the next generation, you know, the future generation. And to know that I've been a part of something that is being passed down to the next generation within the family just makes it that even more special. And as I say, to know that when I am gone, I will always remain because of the wonderful world of Harry Potter, even 19 years on, is quite special.
19 years later, what does that mean to me? Well, I'm still dressing up in silly clothes, putting on funny voices for a living, so not that much has changed there. 19 years ago, I met a very sweet little boy, wide-eyed little boy who'd do everything I told him. That's not quite the same anymore, but watching you turn into a teenager and not be as difficult as my teenage kids have been, and most teenagers are, and still be delightful, and then be a young man, this kind of free-spirited artist, wandering vagabond, finding your way in the world, still incredibly sweetly, and now being a man. Sorry, Tom, you are in fact a man now. There's no new stage that's going to happen. You're just going to be an older man. Has been one of the great pleasures that I got from Harry Potter. Just the professional and the personal, but the personal is about us. And, you know, I love you, son. You've got a real dad who is fabulous. You love him too, but, you know, in a parallel world, I've taken enormous pleasure and pride in watching you and in our continuing relationship. So there's that. And then there's this weird thing, which is acting is a very odd, selfish business. When people come up and say, thank you for doing something, I'm slightly bewildered by it, because I do it because it's fun, first of all, I suppose. And then also it fulfills some need, acting. You know, I like the doing of it. I like the walking in other people's shoes. I like the imagining, you know, lives not lived, to try and understand, decode human beings, but not with Potter. With Potter, it was great. It was, you know, there were enormous pleasures in making it, but wow, the after effects, the numbers of people for whom those stories have had such powerful, profound, positive impact, you know, for whom those themes of friendship and loyalty and morality have really provided them a life raft in very choppy waters and even saved their lives. Who knew? Who would have expected that? And that I continue to meet them, with you often, travelling the world, meeting people through these stories that we've been a part of, have so radically affected and shaped their lives. It's an incredible privilege. So there's that. What else has happened in 19 years? Well, a lot of Joe's predictions have come true. These forces of darkness have marshalled and taken over large parts of the world. And recently, the last couple of weeks, been some victories for the good guys, which is pretty remarkable. Shafts of light breaking through those dark clouds. And I've had some kids. Those of you who remember Lucius Malfoy from 2002, this is the effect that children have on your face. And I can tell you now, it's worth it. Every single line is worth it. So there, I'm sure I'll think of far more interesting and resonant and quotable things to say as soon as I press stop, which I'm going to do right now. Love you.
Thoughts on that it's been 19 years since the first film was released. Wow, 19 years. That is an insane amount of time. God, that is a long time. I mean, it's not 20 years. That's the big one. But still, that's a long time. And it doesn't feel that long. I can still remember the first scene that we ever filmed. It was in this little town, Goatland, which was literally a town that had a large population of goats. And there was like a little train platform there. And it was actually the last scene of the film we shot. It was where we were waving goodbye to everyone, and there was the Hogwarts Express. And Hagrid was in the full kind of giant costume. And I remember, for me, being a huge fan of the books, it really did feel like I was stepping into that world. And it was very overwhelming. And yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, and I'm just very proud to have been a part of something that means so much to so many people. And here's to the next 20 years or 19 years.
Oof. What does 19 years later mean to me? It means 19 years since we all got together at Leavesden for the first time. I think it was the first time we all met, or at least certainly the first time I met everyone, for the read-through. And we got together to do the read-through in that little kind of outbuilding quite near the gate at Leavesden. I don't think we ever really used it after that, or at least I don't remember it, but I have a really clear image of that room and these massive tables all around. And I was a massive fan of the book. So it kind of, I guess, would have made sense for me to feel really nervous about it. But my memory of that day is not feeling nervous. My memory of that day is just meeting everyone and just pissing around. And us, like, running around and misbehaving and getting all excitable. Like, you know, kind of exuberant 11 and 12 and 10 and however old we were, year olds. And that kind of, that's a lovely first memory, because as well as kind of the obvious thing, which is the privilege to have got to be part of something as amazing, as huge, as long-lasting, I think I can say that, 19 years on, as Potter, and still going strong. The amazing thing was that it was fun, that we got to enjoy ourselves, and that everyone was lovely. So that is what 19 years on means to me.
I mean, yeah, well, my first thoughts are that this is but a mere preview of the nostalgia we will all be immersed in next year, when it is 20 years since the first film was released. I feel like we'll be doing a lot of reminiscing, probably in various forms next year. But yeah, I mean, it feels insane that much time has gone by, as I'm sure it does for anyone who is now 30 or 31, looking back on the time since they were 10. You know, it seems impossible that all that time has passed, and it all obviously feels very fresh still, because they were some very formative years. But yeah, it's been sort of it has been amazing to watch the whole thing kind of continue to grow after the film's finished, and not just with obviously the play and with Fantastic Beasts, but you know, with the just new generations of people being introduced to it kind of all the time. You know, the fact that there are now full-grown adults who were not born when we got cast or started filming is you know, pretty terrifying, but also very, very cool.
I remember the first day of shooting Harry Potter, and we were shooting at the train station. We shot at the train station for a couple of days, and it was extraordinarily tense for me. I held everything inside. I made everybody feel good and happy and excited to be there, but inside I was dying. I mean, my stomach was getting ripped apart. I was totally nervous, convinced that I was going to get fired, because here I was with the reins of the film based on possibly the biggest novel series of all time. We were only 3 books in at that point, but it was a worldwide phenomenon. And if I can't say that I can't say that for everybody. I was going to swear, sorry about that. But if I messed it up, if I screwed this thing up, I could never work again. I think I'd have to burn my Directors Guild card. So, we're shooting the train station scene. We get through the first night, and then we come back for the following day, I think, or it might have been reversed. We shoot the first day, and I'm nervous, and right at the very end, camera pushes in slightly to Dan Radcliffe, and it's Harry, Hermione, and Ron as they're leaving Hogwarts. And I don't remember the exact dialogue. You guys probably know much better than I do. It's been a while since I've seen the film. But Hermione says he's sad to be leaving or something. And I think Harry says, I'm not going home, not really. And David Heyman and I, the producer, looked at each other and we had tears in our eyes and we knew we were onto something special. That alleviated my fears a lot, I gotta say. And I could jump in and do the film and feel secure and create a film that was utterly faithful to the books. Now, I would have shot the entire book if I could, you know, and maybe these days those books would have been on streaming services. We don't really know. But at the time, I had to choose what to leave in and what to leave out of the movie. I remember the first preview of the movie that we showed to a Chicago audience was 2 hours and 45 minutes, or 2 hours and 48 minutes. We trimmed a little after that. But all the kids afterwards said, this movie is too short. And all the parents were like, that's pretty long. You know, there's enough there.
Wow. Some familiar faces. Bloody Gryffindors, what do they know? Anyway, it was nice to have the, the Hogwarts alumni. Is that a thing? What do you have in America? You have high school reunions. That was the digital high school reunion of some of the Potter lot.